Hello? Hello? Hello?
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another One Pulse Foundation presentation. Anybody here's first time seeing one of our social visionaries or anything like that? Okay, so this is your first time. You're gonna be in for a treat, okay? Because we really do some engaging presentations here in the name of education. We want to educate communities, right? So a little bit, right? For those that don't know me, I am Dr. Earl. I serve as the Vice President of Education at One Pulse Foundation. And it is my job, in addition to my pal over here, Andres, in advancing the mission for acceptance, inclusion, and remembrance. Right, so I'm really excited today. One Pulse Foundation, people know that I'm formed out of the June 12, 2016 Pulse nightclub tragedy, and it is in honor of, or it's to honor our 49 angels and those that were negatively impacted. So we do that by creating exciting, interesting, engaging educational programs, because that really captures the spirit of the angels that we lost, right? So that's what we try to do here. So before we get started, I do want to thank our sponsors, right? Because without our sponsors, we cannot create these wonderful programs. And our sponsors are Gilead Science and Aguilar Salud. So I just want to thank everybody, just like give them a round of applause, because really, really, they help us bring this to life. I had a conversation in the lobby, and one of the things that we do know is that there are a lot of organizations doing wonderful work in the queer spaces in Orlando. But here's the thing, right? We all kind of work in silos, right? Imagine how great we could be if we combined our resources and worked together in creating change. Need a change, right? Need a change. So it is an honor to be collaborating with these wonderful organizations. We're going to get that motion started, right? So we are thankful to be partnering with De Colonizarte, right? Q Latinx, Pineapple Healthcare, and Central Florida HIV Planning Council. So thank you. Just want to know that we are collaborating. You know what? Yeah, please, please. We're going to continue doing that, because if we want to see change, we really have to work together and create opportunities like this, right? So I'm not going to say much anymore. What I do want to do, though, is welcome Andres Acosta, who really is central to put this whole thing together. So just a round of applause for Andres.
Hi, everyone. Before I keep going, is there any other person that needs translation equipment? I can't see anymore because the lights are up, but if we have any hands, let's just make sure we get them. And we want to start this off with the quilt ceremony. And the quilt ceremony is really important because those of us that are living with HIV know that we are here standing in the shadow and in the foot, and in the foot. We're standing in the shadows and in the shoulders of giants. Those that came before us, that passed away before ART was a thing, before we actually had Ryan White, and before we had all of these great things that keep us alive and well. There were many that lost their lives, and many that won't be remembered unless we keep the quilt ceremony alive and well. So you're about to go see it right now, okay?
One by one, they laid out your patchwork under the sun, and people gathered from miles around to witness your quilt spread on the ground, and then they called out your names. Oh yes, they called out your names. Oh, and you live forever. You know that I'll be loving you just like a patchwork quilt. and children and babies and lovers and friends, they all lay before me, sewn into one. And then they call out your names. Oh, yes, they call out your names. Oh, and you live forever. You know that I'll be loving you just like a patchwork quilt. Ooh.
Hi, everyone. Hi. That was beautiful, wasn't it? Let's take a deep breath together. Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Nadia Garzon. I'm the founder and executive director of Descolonizarte Teatro. We're a professional Latinx theater organization working at the intersection of Latinx, immigrant, and LGBTQ+ identities. We have programming all year long, so I invite you to follow us on social media. We have a QR code out there so that you can see the things that we're doing with the community and with partner organizations. So a few months ago in February, we were asked to work with a community of people living with HIV. We did workshops, interviews, talks, and we gathered this information to create a few scenes that we later presented in downtown Orlando. Now, they invited us to this event, and Andres said, we want to have your actors do the scenes. So I said, okay, yes, but two conditions. One, we continue to do the work with the community so that we have different scenes, but they are from real life, based on the stories that we heard when we talked to the people out in the community. And two, we need to have someone who's HIV positive, because we are not gonna have an actor just pretend they're HIV positive when they have never lived through that. And so thanks to that, we have invited Andres to be part of the play. So Andres is amazing because he's somebody who not only has supported us a lot since we launched our company, but also somebody who thinks about how we can support the efforts of other organizations, which I know sometimes is hard to think about when you do theater. So thank you so much, Andres, for everything.
Absolutely. I already introduced myself before, but my name again is Andres Acosta-Ardila, and I am an education program specialist for the One Pulse Foundation. I'm also the lead for the Central Florida HIV Stigma Task Force, and I was diagnosed with HIV in 2013 at 23 years old.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. Okay, we're gonna do a short little game. Please put your hand out, your left hand out, okay? And you're gonna make some circles. Perfect. Now put your right hand out, and you're gonna do a cross. Okay, well, first the cross on its own, but then yes, let's try to do it at the same time. Not too bad, not too bad. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. Good try, good try. All right, so we're gonna watch 3 short scenes. Actually, we're gonna watch an introduction, a short introduction that's gonna give you some context. And then we're gonna watch 3 short scenes. And each one of these scenes, like I said, was based in real life stories. There's a scene about family, there's a scene about dating, and there's a scene about healthcare, because those were the 3 main topics that people brought up as places or situations in which they face stigma because of their HIV status, okay? So I have a little something for you to do is, as we watch the stories, I want you to think about what could change from that scene. What could either the person who's a bystander or the person who's HIV positive, what could they possibly do to change what happened in the scene? So that's all you have to think about as you watch. And you do so when you think about the person that you identify with the most. Again, whether it is the bystander or the person living with HIV, just what could I do if I were in their shoes, okay? That's all. All right, are you all ready? Yes. I trust that you, I trust that you are. Are you ready? Yes. Very convincing. One more time, are you ready? Yes. Amazing, all right, thank you so much.
The piece you're about to see today We'll have some cruel words and can be a little rough to watch, but it tells us stories from the community that show what it is to live with HIV and AIDS today.
In the 80s, it was thought that HIV and AIDS could be transmitted through casual contact and by sharing utensils.
The CDC, Center for Disease Control, identified 4 risk factors: male homosexuality, intravenous drug use, being Haitian, and hemophilia A.
In the 90s, it was thought that HIV and AIDS could be transmitted through swimming pools, public toilets, sweat, tears,
And saliva.
and saliva.
HIV and AIDS was called a gay disease, and up until the 2000s, it was thought that only people that engaged in high-risk behavior, such as unprotected sex or drug use, could contract HIV and AIDS.
Even in the 2000s, it was still thought that HIV and AIDS could only affect certain demographics and not the general population.
And even today, many of these ideas prevail.
So it's reactive. What does that mean? HIV, like I have HIV. What do I do now? More tests? I don't have insurance. There are many things that went through my mind when I first got my diagnosis, but the one that was worst of all is I feel alone.
I was 15 and pregnant. I had nowhere to go. I had no one to talk to.
I had moved to another city. I found an ad in the newspaper with my name on it. My friends were trying to find me to tell me that my ex had AIDS.
I was home alone when I got the letter with my diagnosis. I just threw it away.
I was working at an agency that provided HIV services. My partner went in for treatment, and that's how I found out.
I went to the doctor with my family. Thank goodness I had their support, but I still felt alone.
When I was diagnosed, I felt scared and I felt alone. I was afraid to tell anyone, so I would drive five hours away for treatment, and I did this for over a decade.
I was born with HIV. My parents didn't tell me till I was 13. I would mostly stay quiet when I would hear my friends say things like, if I had AIDS, I would kill myself.
It's okay, Andres. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna have the love and support of your family. You're gonna be able to find love, and you'll have access to healthcare. You'll be just like everyone else. This is a triple condition.
How are you doing, man?
You take the caldero and you put the spoon in the middle.
Oh, it's a
That's
spoon.
how much you
I've
know,
seen
how much
that.
water you do.
That's my favorite nephew. How you doing? So good to
Hola.
see you.
Hi, papita, hi.
Primo.
How you doing?
Welcome to the
Yeah.
party. How have you been?
You know, I've had a bit of a rough week, but I'm happy I'm here right now.
It's time to relax, right?
Yeah.
Come on, get in the pool. We'll meet you
All
there.
right, thank you.
No, you
It's
stay here.
great. Right?
Yeah, no, but yeah, pobrecito, poor thing.
What do you mean, pobrecito?
What happened?
Oh, you guys don't know?
What?
Andres has AIDS.
Andresito.
Yeah. Yep. His mother told me about it last week. He just got diagnosed.
So is it AIDS or HIV?
It's HIV, but it's the same thing.
Same thing.
The whole shebang.
And I just hugged you.
Yes, you did. Yep.
What a way to waste a life, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure you should be telling us this? You should be the one to tell us this.
Well, if his mom didn't want everyone to know, she wouldn't have told me.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You know what? It doesn't surprise me. Have you seen the lifestyle and his friends?
Oh, yeah.
And,
Oh, yes, the whole puteria thing, sleeping around and all. Yep.
are we sure that's how he got it?
Well, I mean, have you seen his friends?
Yeah.
I guess so.
I hate dating apps. Oh, a message. Do you want to go to dinner tonight? Yes. But there's something I should tell you. I have HIV. Ghosted.
Hey, hot stuff. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. You look cute.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Hey, what are you doing tonight? Want to hook up?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Are you clean?
HIV positive, undetectable.
Blocked.
You know, from now on, I'm just gonna tell people in person.
Oh my
I know.
God, that's wild.
That-
Wow, I've had such a great time today.
Thank you, me too, me too. I actually really enjoyed this.
Yeah, me too. I think we vibed so well.
Yeah, I felt like we had a connection.
Absolutely, and I feel like it's so difficult nowadays with dating apps.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, and I hope we get to do it again another time.
Yeah,
Yeah?
there's just one thing I have to tell you.
Go ahead.
I'm HIV positive.
Wait, what? Oh, you're joking.
No, I was diagnosed HIV positive.
Oh, HIV?
Yeah, but I'm undetectable.
Wait, and you waited until now to tell me? Until the end of the date?
I wanted you to know me as a person.
So what you're telling me is you're wasting my time. This is so disrespectful of you. It should be illegal for people like you to be on dating apps.
Okay, Andres, I have your chart here. Looks like you have a staph infection. Pretty,
Yeah,
s- pretty serious condition. Yeah. How do you feel?
it hurts pretty bad.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad you came in. The doctor will be here soon. He'll give you some medication, okay?
Thank you.
Of course.
Mr. Sanchez, hello, I'm Dr. Phillips. I'm going to be helping you today. I'm sorry to hear that you've developed staph infection. How are you feeling? From 1 to 10, how's the pain?
It's at a 10. It hurts really bad.
I'm really sorry to hear. Don't worry, we'll take care of that. Mr. Sanchez, are you aware that you are HIV positive?
Yes.
I see. Do you have a girlfriend?
No.
Doctor, he's here for his staph infection.
Nurse, I know. We just need to make sure that he's not putting other people at risk, right? Understand that? So, you have a girlfriend?
No.
Come on. Somebody you've been having sex with, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and have you used protection?
Sometimes.
Oh,
But I'm undetectable.
Oh, you're taking medication.
He's been on medication for a year.
Any side effects from your medication that will impair you from practicing safe sex, Mr. Sanchez?
No.
Okay. And have you made aware your partners or potential partners of your status?
Yes.
That's important. That's important, Mr. Sanchez. You know, this is a very serious condition and it could be very easily spread.
The staph infection?
No, Mr. Sanchez, the HIV. The HIV.
Okay. So let's talk about the scenes that we watched. The first scene about the family. Remember, the other part was the introduction. So let's talk about the scene about the family. What happened in that scene? And if you want to respond in Spanish, it's okay. All of us speak Spanish. And then one of the interpreters will come up and we'll translate. We'll just have to take pauses in between. What happened in that scene with the family? We already forgot. What happened? Do you remember? Yes, yes, because you were like, yes, yes, so I want to hear from you. What happened in that scene?
Okay, in that scene is two of the family members were not aware.
Mm-hmm.
Only one.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he conveyed the message that, hey, didn't you know that this HIV positive or AIDS, whatever she said, then the other two people started going like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there was a situation with the family, somebody's disclosing the status of someone else, and the family's having a reaction about it. Okay, come over a little closer so we can see you there in that scene. What do you think, any of you, again, whomever you identify with the most, that this person, right, who's kind of our bystander, is kind of in between, that is not quite sure, is that right? Right, you're nodding your head. So yes, kind of the bystander could do. Because in that scene, Andres has already left, so what could this person possibly do? Oh, yeah. Yes. I love that. Come here. Come here. Yes. I'm talking to you. Yes. You're all shy today. All right. Yeah, give her a hand. Woohoo! Very nice. So what I would like, come here. It's all good. It's all good. So this is what is called forum theater. So what I would like for you to do is we're going to start the scene, okay? Just the part where the family members are talking. And then when you get to that part where you think that character should say something, then you're going to clap, they're going to freeze, and you'll go in and be that character, okay? It's going to be really easy. Come here. Come to the side with me. All right. Are you ready? Okay. All right. So we're just going to do from the part when they're like, okay, haven't you heard?
Yeah, have you guys heard? Andres has AIDS.
Andresito.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His mother told me about it last week. He just got diagnosed. Right there? Yes.
Right there, perfect. Okay, so please take your towel so you can be our character. Perfect. I love it. All right. You tell them.
That's Andres' private medical information.
Oh, but we have to know all these things. We have to stay safe.
Well, if you want to know more about it, you should talk to him directly instead of speaking about it when he's not present.
Well, we will later on, but we should all still be very aware of it, just in case.
It's important for everybody to know.
It is, but it's his choice to talk to you or to tell you, and you have information that you weren't supposed to have. So it seems like the respectful thing to do is to wait and talk to him.
Whoa, very nice. Give her a hand. Yay! That was great. Did that work? Did that work somewhat? Yes, you're nodding. Okay, somewhat it worked. Okay, great, great. What else could they have done? What else? Is there another idea of something that could be done? Yes.
They could have talked about the difference between HIV.
I love it. Come and
AIDS.
show me. Come, girl, come here. Yes, perfect. So you want to start at the same part, or you want the same? So maybe when you say AIDS and HIV, yeah, we'll start with her. Okay. You're ready for it. Yes. I am. So right over here, and then.
Haven't you guys heard? Andres has AIDS.
Andresito.
Yep, he just got diagnosed last week. His mother told me.
Okay, well, there's a difference between HIV and AIDS.
It's the same thing.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. If a person have an HIV diagnosis, and if they're taking their medication, and if they're undetectable, there's a very low risk that the virus can be spread.
It's not the same. I mean, if you have flu, it's bad flu or good. I mean, it's flu.
No, it's truly a difference. The only time a person have an AIDS diagnosis is when they viral load. When their CD4 is between 200 and 14%. Once it falls below 214%, that's when you get an AIDS diagnosis. And the way the medication works is that the medication helps raise the immune system, thank you, and lower the viral load, which is the virus that's in the body. So therefore, when you see him, does he look healthy? Do you see him, does he look like he can go run a marathon? Yeah. Well, that's because of the medications.
Woohoo! That's great. All right. Yes. Look at that. All that information. Education is so powerful. Excellent. Education is amazing. Thank you so much for that. Great. Is there another idea of something else that could have happened? You have another one? You wanted more? Okay. See, the risk is liking it too much. Okay. So where should we start for this idea?
The part where they say the part about AIDS versus HIV. Start with that.
Okay. So the same part that we just did. Yep. So you want to just start then?
Let's jump in.
Just jump in.
Yes. Get the towel. Yep.
Get in character. Correct.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same. HIV and AIDS is the same thing. Yeah.
I know y'all love Andres very much, and I think the right thing to do would be to educate yourselves more before you talk about it, because it sounds like you have opinions and you don't know very much medical information about it, and maybe it would be something kind to do for him to educate yourself so you can support him better.
Oh, that's so nice. Yay. Thank you. That is so beautiful. Also, just like empathy, appealing to love and to actually like taking care of the people around you. Great. all right, let's move on to the unless somebody is like burning to jump on again. We can go to the next scene. Next scene? All right, let's go to the next scene. So again, these are the topics that people keep bringing up over and over again every time we talk to them. So the second scene is about dating. So who remembers what happened in that scene? Okay, right here. Okay, ghosted, I heard.
Oh, okay. So she got upset because he waited till the end of the date to disclose his status, even though they weren't having sex.
Yeah. So just informing her, and she got really upset, and then somebody mentioned ghosted.
When he was texting here, and he said, "Oh, I'm HIV positive," and he's like, "Ghosted."
Yeah, so he got ghosted.
The person he was talking to didn't respond anymore.
Yeah, exactly. The person didn't talk anymore. He got blocked too, and then he went to tell the person in person, and that happened.
She got really angry and just cut him off and basically shamed him.
Yeah, so got really angry and shamed him. Yeah. So do we have ideas? And again, this is if you want to, and if you want to either identify or just want to replace Andres. What ideas do we have? What could be possibly said or done? Is that a hand? Yes. Oh yeah, we are holding the microphone because we're recording and the audio goes through the mic, so that's why it's awkward trying to get you into the mic. Yes.
If she really cared about Andres, what she could have done is tell him that.
Okay, wait, no, come here. Come here so you can tell me over here. Great. Yeah, you can keep that mic if you want. All right, so she could have told him something, or so you think Andres could have said something there to her?
No. She could have said something different and tell him, "I'm so sorry. I'm here for you if you ever need anything. I'm
okay.
going to go educate myself more about HIV and AIDS. What I recommend doing is that you go and see a medical provider to find out what they can do to you."
That's very sweet. I think you would be a very kind date. And I appreciate that. We are going to try to replace Andres, though, because in real life, we can't be replacing these people, right? Like, it's a lot harder to replace the person who doesn't have that information. So think about this, and you don't have to do it right now. You can come back. But if you were Andres, is there something that you could say or do? You
would say to me?
Yeah, in that scene.
Instead of saying that you had HIV.
No, as a response to her response. And you can think about it, and then
look, I would tell her, look, maybe you need to calm down and go educate yourself about it. If it makes you feel better, if it makes you feel better, I have spoken to my doctor. My doctor has given me the medicine. Your job is to go do your research and make sure that you're supportive. And if you can't, then we're going to have to split up because I can't be with someone who isn't going to understand and respect what I'm going through.
Ooh, nice. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. Great. So yeah, kind of saying like, you know, you need to understand this. This is what I'm going through. All right, sorry we didn't get to get you out, but that was great. That was it. What else? What else could Andres say or do? Was that a hand? No. Yeah, I'm good. What about here? I'm good at seeing people going. Nothing else? That was it? That's the only thing? Yes. After or during, hold on one second. Hold on, sorry. Say that again.
Are you saying when after she blows up at him, or
At any point in the scene. At any point in the scene, whether it was at the beginning. It's a tricky one, okay? Are we all okay, let's go ahead and have the scene again. We're gonna do it so you can see it, and then maybe that will help you spark ideas, all right? Let's go again.
I've had such a wonderful time today.
Me too.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Wow, I feel like we vibe very well.
Yeah, I felt like we really had a connection.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I feel that with dating apps nowadays is so difficult.
Yeah, no, tell me about it.
And I hope we can do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, there's just something I have to tell you.
What's up?
So I'm HIV positive.
You're joking.
No, I was diagnosed with HIV.
Wait, HIV? And you waited until now to tell me?
I wanted us to have a connection. I wanted you to know me as a person.
So you're telling me that you're wasting my time? It is so disrespectful of you to do this. And it should be illegal for people like you to be on dating apps.
So there he was again. I know, big sigh. So, voy a hablarles en español y voy a repetirme en inglés. Pueden hablar en español las personas que hablan en español porque todos aquí hablamos español. So one more time, I'm just repeating myself that you can come up and do your intervention in Spanish because we all speak Spanish and they will translate for you. There's something Andres could have done or said at some point in that scene. Oh, there's some. Oh, wait, right here. There you go. Oh, yes, come up and do it.
Okay.
Which part? Any part from the beginning, as soon as you tell? At the end of the blow up. So just do the last line.
It should be illegal for people like you to be on dating apps.
I'm really sorry you feel that way. I've really enjoyed my time with you, and I'm sorry if you feel that way. But you've got my number. Do some research and find out what I mean by undetectable, and you can call me back.
Nice. Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
Good job.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, it's like also very calm, too. It's different approaches, right? Anything else? Anyone else? ¿Alguien más? Ah, aquí. Let's go right there, right here. Yeah, you can say it in Spanish and translate. You can translate too.
¿En español o en inglés?
En inglés para que ellas puedan traducir en español. Yeah, in English, that way they can translate. If you feel comfortable. If not,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay,
yes.
good. Go for it.
Yes. What I will, if I was him in that situation, the way he approached it too is kind of with shame. You know, he's presenting there's something I have to tell you that is so deep and so dramatic. You know, so if we present things in a lighter view, you know, when we
You feel like maybe that would be different? Come on and try it. Let's try it. Come on.
Oh boy.
Yeah, let's try it. It's difficult too, right? And
Very
something that happens in forum theater that's really interesting is that people have ideas, and when they come up and are in there, it's different because now you're in the middle of it, and now it just doesn't feel quite the same. In which part, Lorna?
At the point when he's going to tell her.
Okay, just you can go ahead and start. And
I've had such a wonderful time.
I did too.
Great.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, we should do it again sometime.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, there's circumstances in life, you know, we have such a good time, you
Yeah.
know, and we feel like we connect.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
It's
this
so
is so
difficult
nice.
nowadays.
And these days, yes.
Mhm.
You know, it's really hard to find somebody that you can talk to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But people go through things in life, and there are things that you don't plan. There's just no planning on it. And there's something I want to talk to you about. I don't know how you feel about it.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
don't know how educated you are about it, but I have a condition that is a chronic condition that is HIV. I'm HIV positive.
Wait.
And yes.
HIV?
HIV.
And you waited until now to tell me?
Well, because I thought that you were an open-minded person because I connected with you. So I was expecting that if I connect with you in that level, you were an open-minded with a big heart that you will understand where I'm coming from.
Woo! Yay! Yeah. Thank you. So a different approach also right there. Okay, ¿alguien más? Anybody? Okay, right here.
Just at the end, I would have said, I understand why it's that difficult for you to...
Come do it. Come do it. Come do it. And just tell her. Yes. You can grab a mic. She's just going to tell you. The end? When she's about to leave, right? Like the end. Okay,
Yeah.
so just last line.
It should be illegal for people like you to be on dating apps.
Now I understand why it's that difficult for you to date someone.
Oh, snap! Oh, girl! That's fabulous. See, the beauty of this is that there are 1,000 things and 1,000 ways, and they all can be really amazing. But the important thing here is to identify that we can be that person, right? To make things different. And so that was a great answer, too. It's great. Great comeback. All right. Unless anybody's like burning to come on stage, we're going to move to the next scene. Anybody? Anybody? You want to come in?
We skipped over the other one with the act, right? And in that, he used the term clean.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Right?
Mm-hmm,
And so...
mm-hmm. Oh, so you want to go there at that point. Bring your camera. Go to the app. Yes. Thank you. You can take the photos. You can do it. We believe in you. Right, so we're going to go from the line, are you clean? Because I am so glad that you picked up on that one, because...
Can we go from, hey, hot stuff?
Well, okay, different kind of show, different kind of show. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. Different kind of show. Let's just go from, are you... just to keep it PG. All right, go.
Hey, are you clean?
What do you mean by clean?
You know, STDs, anything?
Do you know your status?
Yeah, negative.
When was the last time you were tested?
I don't know.
You don't know when you were last tested?
Nope. No, I don't know. What about you?
I was tested in July of 2023. And my doctor came back with that I am HIV positive. I've been positive for 12 years, but I'm also undetectable. Do you know what undetectable is?
No, I don't. You want to tell me?
Sure, undetectable means that I cannot pass the virus to you, but I'm more concerned about the fact that you haven't been tested.
Excellent, great. Thank you so much. Great job, yes. So important. Also, Andres, I don't know if you want to say something about this, but like that term clean.
Yeah, so the term clean, we use it in a lot of things. We use it in recovery. We use it when it comes to STDs, and it needs to go away altogether, right? We are not dirty just because we have HIV. We're simply people living with HIV. And when it comes to substance use, it's the same thing. People are not dirty just because they use substances. They are still people. So we need to really move away with this word clean altogether, because it implies this dirty side of life that should never be applied to human beings.
Yes, all right. Yeah, go ahead. All right, so last call. Anybody? ¿Alguien más? ¿Alguien más? Oh, you want, yes, I see another hand over there.
Piggyback off of what had just happened on stage.
Okay.
In this scenario. So this fella took that opportunity to educate the person on the other side,
Mhm.
Explaining his condition and that he, had the condition for 12 years and undetected. And in this scenario, if the date would have been so inclined to sit down and he could say, can I just tell you a few things? I know you're angry with me. And
Mhm.
we're probably not going to have another date. But can I just tell you a few things?
Mm,
And
okay.
an opportunity to educate.
This person.
Yeah.
I love that. I have a question for you. Do you feel comfortable being the person educating?
No.
No, and that's okay.
I
So,
don't.
but that's a great idea. Who here in the audience has enough information? ¿Quién tiene información? Who has enough information? I know I'm looking at many of you. Who would be able to do what Ashley is proposing? Anybody? Anybody? Who's? Yeah. Do it. So the proposal is that you will tell this person, you know what? Let me educate you, and then you do your thing in education. Well, let's see. We'll see. So maybe the first time, did you say you're just waiting for me to know right now, or you're HIV positive?
You're HIV positive and you waited until now to tell me?
Yes, or do you prefer me to say after we have sex?
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, you're just telling me you're wasting my time then.
So when was the perfect time for you? In your head, when was the
Before
perfect
we
time?
even spoke.
Because you think that you get HIV through talking?
Because I don't know what we're going to do after.
But
I didn't know.
Okay, but I know that I'm a responsible person, and I know that I will not have sex with you until I tell you this. So that's what I'm telling you before I even kissed you.
Very nice, very nice. Do you have any other piece of education?
Do you know what is undetectable?
I have no idea what that is.
Okay, let me explain to you. If you have the time, I will explain to you. Undetectable means that as long as I take my medication, the amount of virus is so low in my body that not even kissing you will transmit the virus. It's almost impossible for me transmitting the virus to you because the amount of virus in my system with the medication is too low to transfer to you.
All right. Give it a hand. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
Can't keep this scarf.
You'll do it. All right.
You want to do
Which
it?
part?
Bring it a little bit of peace.
Come on.
It was going to be before he actually discloses it.
I know.
Before he discloses it.
Okay, so let's just watch before. Like, I have something to tell you. Just go ahead from.
Oh, you're gonna.
All right.
You were like, we should have another date.
I hope we get to do it again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk about everything. We had so much in common.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what do you feel about people that like date and one person was maybe HIV positive and the other was
Oh, I
not.
would never do that. Oh, God. Yeah.
That there has been countless studies in many different countries where there has not been one transmission when the person is undetectable because they're taking the medication.
Undetectable.
Yeah, undetectable. If you're HIV positive, doesn't mean that you have AIDS. What it means is that you have a virus, and for whatever reason you got the virus, it could be just birth, it could have been just by, sexual transmission as well. But when you know and you get your medication, the medication allows you for your virus to be impossible to detect by lab measures. And when that happens, you cannot be a transmissible to whoever you're having sex, even if it's unprotected sex. So do you think that these people would have good relationships?
I mean, I hope that with each other.
With each other?
Just people with HIV should just be with people with HIV.
Okay, all right.
That way we stay safe, you know?
Ah, okay. Now, you like me.
Well, yeah, we had a great time.
And you would think otherwise if I tell you that I am undetectable.
I'm sorry, what?
You heard me.
You have HIV and you waited until now to tell me?
Yes.
You're wasting my time then.
I would like to think that I'm not, because at least you know a piece of information that you didn't know. And I hope you give me a chance to prove to you on the science side how this could work. And it's not gonna be a life sentence for you or for me, because I'm not gonna die.
All right, nice. She made it hard for you. She made it hard. All right. Thank you. Lots of information there about education, right? It was similar, but yet it was different as the other approach, right? Because we had education piece, but the way they approach, the way they bring that education is different. So again, there's 1,000 ways to do it. I want to go to the last scene so that we have time to do it. So thank you so much for, yes. So let's try to remember what was the last scene. The last scene was at the doctor. Who remembers what happened at the doctor? And again, this is real life stories. What happened at the doctor? The doctor, hold on, because I need the mic.
The doctor just focused on the fact that the patient had a history of HIV and not his staph infection.
Yep, and again, real life stories, so pretty messed up. So let's think about, again, in this situation, understanding that when you go to the doctor, you're very vulnerable. And, it could be times when you don't even have a chance to think. But understanding that, let's think about ways in which maybe Andres, or maybe the nurse, did you see that the nurse could have done something? So who has some ideas about what the nurse or Andres could have done or said? Ideas? Don't be afraid. Oh, yeah. Yes.
I think that the nurse could have asked the doctor, can I speak to you for a second?
Oh, come show me. You have to leave the camera again. There is no way. That's such a great idea, and I cannot let you not do that. It's a tricky situation. It's a tricky situation, right? We also don't know how long this person has been working there or what, but I think this is a great approach, so. And just go ahead and call in the doctor whenever.
So do you have a girlfriend, Mr. Sanchez?
No.
I mean, come on, anybody you've been having sex with?
Hey, doc.
Yes.
See first.
Excuse me for a second. Yes.
Listen.
You can turn around, they won't.
So I'm pretty sure you know, as a medical professional.
You can be louder.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that.
We'll pretend Andres doesn't hear you just so the audience can hear. All right? Let's do it.
I'm pretty sure that you know, as a medical practitioner, that this subject is really, really sensitive to patients. And the more you bring it up, the harder it is for the patient to talk about. He is here for a staph infection. I'm not trying to tell you what to do on your job, right? But do you think we could leave that part of the conversation alone and really focus on the staph infection?
He's putting other people at risk. That's my concern.
I understand that, but you have his chart, you have his numbers, and maybe that's a topic for a different conversation.
Nice. Very nice. Yay. It was also, yes, thank you so much. It was also done with such like patience and love, you know, in a way where it could have gone in a different way, but we were all worried about his job, right? And then suddenly we were all like, oh yeah, right? So great, that was great. Thank you so much. I think that would have worked. Anyone else? What else in this? Let's see. Okay. You can try in Spanish, but tell me who you're going to be replacing. Is it the nurse or Andres? No, not. Again, we don't replace the doctor because if we could, life would be so easy. I mean, so Andres or the nurse? I'm going to try Andres' character.
Yes.
Okay. Andres' role. ¿Desde qué parte? From which part?
Cuando he acabado a informar al doctor que tuviera HIV.
Okay, so after the doctor tells you that you are HIV positive.
Yes.
Yes, so let's go from that part. Vamos a empezar en esa parte.
Señor Sánchez, ¿usted está al tanto de que es positivo, HIV positivo?
Mr. Sanchez, do you know that you're HIV positive?
Sí, yo sabía. Mi mamá siempre tenía HIV.
Yes, I know. My mother had HIV.
Oh, I see. So it's you were born with HIV.
Sí, fue nacido con esa enfermedad, pero es sin mi control. No tengo ningún control sobre eso.
Yes, I was born with that illness, but it's not out of my control. I don't have any control over that.
Entiendo. Y bueno, pero ¿ha tenido sexo con alguien? ¿Ha tenido protección?
Have you used protection? Have you had sex with anyone?
¿Por qué piensas eso?
Why do you think that?
Bueno, porque es importante asegurarnos de que no esté transmitiendo la enfermedad.
Because it's important to know that you're not transmitting the illness to other people.
Te entiendo, pero no he tenido sexo con nadie.
I understand, but I haven't had sex with anyone.
No puedes hacer estas generalizaciones. Es muy grave. Yo comprendo.
You can't make those comments.
Tu punto de vista. Este es un tópico muy grave, es sensitivo.
This is a very sensitive topic.
Completamente entiendo, pero tienes que aprender.
I understand.
Tienes que comprender.
But you have to understand.
Estaba experimentada esta enfermedad por toda mi vida.
That I've experienced this illness throughout my life, and it wasn't even my fault.
Tienes que educarte más sobre esta enfermedad.
You have to educate more about this illness. Thank you. All right, so that was great. We had like more conversation with the doctor, kind of giving the doctor a little bit more information. What I do want to point out also is that the story had changed a little bit, right? So if we go into someone else's story, we have to remember that's like the story is different, right? Because he had given different answers. So it's a little tricky sometimes, right? To put yourself in that situation, and we may think that we're able to, but we may end up having a totally different situation happening. All right. Okay, I think we have like 1 minute for the last intervention. If anybody really, oh, there's somebody up there! Yay! All right. Tell us.
Y'all said everything in here. I sit and listen. HIV is under control. Medicine is under control. STD is worse than HIV. And as a doctor, he should know. He should have been talking about the STD.
You want to tell him yourself?
Oh, no.
Because I feel like, oh! But I feel like you do such a great time.
HIV is under control. And then what he should have been getting on the person about was the STD. That's what takes people out. That's what they have no. It is. You just have to have it to know it and to go through it. But the STD is worse than an HIV.
Thank you so much for that information. All right, give him a hand. Yes. All right, I think that we are about at the end of our interventions, but there's an idea. Okay, give me the last idea so that we can, yes.
I think as the patient, Andres could have said, you know, I'm more than my diagnosis.
Okay, come and tell us. Come and show us. Fine, come on stage. Yes, get in character. And speak into the mic. Don't forget the microphone.
When you ask about sexual partners.
So, Mrs. Sanchez, have you disclosed your status to partners or potential partners? That's important.
Doctor, I don't think this is relevant. I'm more than a diagnosis, and I feel like you're treating me like a criminal, and I'm here to talk about a staph infection.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah, you did amazing. And again, this type of theater is called Forum Theater, which was created by a Brazilian man, Augusto Boal. And so we're very excited to have that piece here today. We're Descolonizarte Teatro. We're going to set up everything for a panel discussion now. But thank you so much. And remember to follow us on social media.
Okay, awesome. So we have a panel discussion that is happening now. Our moderator originally was supposed to be Mike Alonso from Gilead Sciences. He's our lovely sponsor who paid for all this, so yay, Mike. Unfortunately, Mike has a case of COVID, so he stayed home so that the rest of us could be safe. But I do want to welcome our amazing panelists, and I'm really excited to have them here today. So we will be starting with Dr. Andrea Dunn. And I know the seats are kind of high, but we'll get as director's chairs. Yes. And we'll be passing that mic around.
Okay, thank you.
Because I still have mine. Awesome. So, Dr. Dunn, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Hi. This has been an amazing night. So I really appreciate, this is my first experience with Forum Theater, so it's great. But I'm Dr. Andrea Dunn. I'm the founder and executive director of Let's Beehive, and what our organization does is we provide HIV education, which is, I was happy to hear about that tonight, but we really focus on prevention, HIV education, awareness, and prevention services. And what's really unique about our organization is we also include children in these conversations. So that way, as they continue to grow in age and grow from children into adulthood, that they know how to manage these types of conversations and these types of things, and actually to help with reducing stigma, which is what we're here for tonight. So I'm very excited to be here. Definitely follow us on social media, but we provide education.
Thank you, Dr. Dunn. And our next panelist is Andres Vasquez. Andres is a former CDC ambassador and social media influencer, and we're happy to have him today. Andres, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a very shy person, but some people call me influencer. Soy una persona que tiene un diagnóstico positivo del VIH hace 5 años y anteriormente a eso, ¿verdad? Era diseñador gráfico. Entonces ese conocimiento de diseño gráfico actualmente lo utilizo en redes sociales para educar y visibilizar a las personas que tenemos un diagnóstico positivo, para ayudar a otras personas a que puedan hacerse la prueba del VIH y acompañar no solamente a esas personas como parejas, amistades, esas familias, sino como esas personas que como yo en algún momento se aislaron o no saben cómo expresarse o vivir con este diagnóstico.
Okay. Si vamos a hablar, if you're going to speak in Spanish, you have to do it slowly so I can translate it a piece at a time. So what he has said is that his name is Andres Vasquez and he's a graphic designer. He has used his graphic design and his HIV positive status to actually create a forum online where he does outreach for individuals and education for the for communities. Is that the gist of what you said?
That's right. I'm still healing, and anxiety is one of the things.
Okay, perfect. All right, our next panelist is Gabriela Rodriguez from Q Latinx, the Executive Director of Q Latinx. Gabriela, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Gabriela Rodriguez. I use she, her, and ella pronouns. I currently serve as the executive director for Q Latinx, which is a small grassroots organization here in Central Florida that was started shortly after the Pulse tragedy. We have around 9 different departments that work on a variety of different issues, understanding that they intersect in people's lives. We're very community focused. Really bringing the education and empowerment back to our folks.
Yes, we love Q Latinx. And our last but not least, this woman is an absolute rock star, and I love her to death. And I'm really excited to have her here because she does a lot of really great work when it comes to decriminalization and HIV, and she'll tell you a little bit more about that, Miss Camaria Lafray. Do you need some help? Okay, I got you.
If you can hold the back of the chair, because
Okay.
I got hips and dips and
There
stuff.
we go.
So
You're good.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Oh yes, so my name is Camaria Lafray. I use she, her pronouns. I live in Polk County. I come into this work as a woman living with HIV. I currently serve as the co-executive director of the Sarah Project, which is an organization, a national organization, led by and accountable to people living with HIV, to center their concerns, their voices, their leadership, their lives in the decision-making to change laws and to break down stigma.
Okay. Awesome. So we're going to start with you, actually, Camaria. And the first question for you is, what role does HIV stigma play in the criminalization of HIV?
Okay, so we saw a lot of stigma in the plays tonight, and there was one that really jarred me during the date, when the date stood up and said it should be illegal for people like you to be on dating apps. So thank God it's not. Thank God it's not. But HIV criminalization, I have to read it because I forget the actual way to say it. But it's a term that's used to describe laws that either criminalize otherwise legal conduct, like having sex, or increase the penalties for illegal conduct based on a person's HIV positive status. There's no other health condition that has these laws. Florida's were written in 1986, and more than 2/3 of the United States and territories have enacted some sort of HIV criminal law in the 80s and haven't been touched since. There are many states that have changed the laws. So how does stigma play a role in that? People don't want to get tested because they know these laws exist, because once you know your status, then you are subject to your partner saying that you didn't disclose. A lot of these cases, people who are in prison right now never transmitted HIV. So the actual intent of transmission, the actual transmission, whether someone's on their medication, none of that is considered in the way these laws are enforced. And also someone can change their mind and be like, oh, I was just mad because they didn't want to be in a relationship with me anymore. And so I just said they didn't tell me their status. The laws are based on disclosure of whether or not I as a woman living with HIV, I have to prove that I disclosed my status before having sex. And then I also have to prove, it is my responsibility to prove that that person understood what I disclosed. That's how the laws are written, that's how they're interpreted, that's how they're enforced by many of our legal criminal justice friends. So.
And that's actually one of the, especially being in Florida, that's one of the biggest factors that plays a role in internalized stigma. Because I remember when I received my diagnosis, going on a date, and it was the most innocent thing. I was 23, still very like shy. And when I went on the date, the first thing I thought of is, if I don't tell this person that I am a criminal, this can come back to haunt me. I can get a felony on my record. I can get criminalized just because I didn't tell this person my status. And that's something that really weighs heavy on you. And so for those of you that are not HIV positive, that's one of the things that we have to carry around with us. And for a while, it was what scared me off of dating anyone that was not HIV positive, because I was like, I don't want to risk getting in an argument with this person and then having them attack me this way. Yeah. So thank you for that, Kamari. Our next panelist, Gabriela Rodriguez, is going to tell us a little bit about what role does remembrance culture, and this one's for Dr. Earl, what role does remembrance culture play in destigmatizing HIV?
Yeah, I think we can use it in a lot of aspects, right? Because when we remember, we give individuals that have been impacted the opportunity to not only remember and uplift that individual, but also the impact that they've had, right? I think back to when we brought the quilt panels to HCA, we also brought a Pulse Memorial. We had around 3,000 individuals nationwide that were able to visually see what our community was faced with, not only being impacted by HIV, but also being impacted by a tragedy that happened not too long ago at that moment in time. I also feel like it opens up dialogue, right? It opens up conversation. It allows people to be able to ask questions that they may have not had an opportunity to. I know with the quilts, when we were able to bring them almost 4 years ago, it not only gave us a space to start a conversation with individuals that may have never had a conversation about HIV, right? But it allowed them to bring it in an innovative way, right? They were able to use art, so they may have not been comfortable with having a conversation at that moment in time, but we were able to use art to talk about the legacy of individuals that were impacted or that we had lost in our community. I know that when we had brought it to USHCA afterwards, we were able to bring it to World AIDS Day with Planning Council, and then we were able to bring it to different community events, and now I'm going into the next question, so I'll just let you finish there. But
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's a really good point. Like, the AIDS quilt is one of those things that, for those of you that have seen it, each quilt represents a life, someone that passed due to HIV and AIDS. And if you're someone living with HIV, I can tell you the first time that I saw it completely displayed, it completely shook me to my core, because all I could think about was each one of these people had a life, and they passed because at the time we didn't have the medication, the advances that we do today. And so when you saw them come out here and do the display, that is a beautiful remembrance of the lives of those people that are represented in the quilt. Andres Vasquez, why is it important to build relationships with leaders from across the country, including Puerto Rico, in order to collectively fight HIV stigma?
Pienso que cada una de las personas que estamos aquí y que trabajamos en este campo o que podemos aportar algo, todos nos podemos complementar. Tenemos diferentes experiencias y visiones y tenemos un solo objetivo, que es terminar la epidemia del VIH. Y de alguna manera...
Wait. Pause. Let me translate that. So he says that we are all here together and we're all leaders in our specific area, and we can all come together to fight HIV. Hazlo una sentencia a la vez, para que me quede fácil.
Sí, tenemos experiencias y nos podemos complementar. Definitivamente de aquí y de allá, en Puerto Rico, en Estados Unidos, queda mucho por hacer. Y creo que tenemos muchos recursos o materiales y podemos ayudarnos.
Yo creo que tenemos muchas cosas por hacer. I think we have a lot of things that are left to do here in the United States and Puerto Rico, and we can actually complement each other in getting a lot of this work done.
En este poco tiempo trabajando dentro del VIH he visto en Puerto Rico que queda mucho por hacer, y definitivamente de otras personas y experiencias acá en los Estados Unidos y personas que llevan trabajando, ¿verdad?, de diferentes países como tú también, Andrés, uno puede aprender un montón de cosas que puede aplicar en donde uno vive. Quizás hay mucha resistencia a los cambios o a las cosas nuevas, pero uno puede ser esa semilla para que ese mensaje se lleve y de alguna manera las personas sí conozcan su estatus de VIH o vean nuevas posibilidades de cómo hacer las cosas hoy día en el 2023 con los recursos y materiales que tenemos.
So what Andres just described is the cross-pollination of ideas. Is this thought that leaders in different areas can actually learn from each other in order to be able to work towards a common goal. And what he's saying is that you can actually carry what you learn from different countries specifically about how they deal with the epidemic in their city, in their state, in their country, and take that back home and apply those solutions to the problems that you're facing yourself. That was not word for word what he said. That was just an overall traduction of what he said. And if not, I should have had Nadia do the translation because she does it so well. Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you, yes. Gracias, Natalia. Yeah, she'll need a mic. Okay. All right. So our last but not least, we have Dr. Dunn. My question to you is, how do we engage the heterosexual population, especially in communities of color, in order to destigmatize HIV?
I think it's very important for us to include all populations, but oftentimes the heterosexual population is left out. And it's opportunities like this that can show just the effects of how HIV can affect anybody as a person. But I think it's important for heterosexuals to understand that HIV can affect anyone. It doesn't matter race, gender, sexual orientation, none of these things matter. Financial status, education, all the things that we use to separate, ourselves and put ourselves into these categories and classes. But when it comes to HIV, it can affect anyone who is having sex or condomless sex or just maybe just engaging in sex. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's risky or, like you're having risky behaviors. And I think oftentimes there's misconceptions for people who are heterosexual and they feel like they may not necessarily be vulnerable to HIV transmission. And that is one of the biggest myths that people can think. And so right now, nationally, heterosexuals represent, based on 2021 data, probably about 20 to 21% of new diagnoses that took place in 2021. So it's not that it doesn't happen, it's just not as common. And I often think that it's just a population that's often forgotten about because there's so much emphasis and focus on our LGBTQAI+ brothers and sisters that oftentimes that we think that it's just certain populations, but it can happen to anyone. And so it's very important for people to understand and see the perspective. I think even just sitting here, I was very, very emotional, just as far as seeing what someone living with HIV can go through, and that people really do have a false misconception that it can't happen to them. And that's one of the worst things that a person can think because it can happen to anyone. So.
Absolutely. And you hit on a great point here, too, when it comes to the HIV stigma, right? And is that part of the stigma is the fact that it's still heavily tied to the queer community, right? We represent about 70% of the population that's living with HIV. So it's easy to twist that into making it a queer condition or a queer disease. And part of the reason why we need to engage heterosexuals, if I may say so myself, is so that we can destigmatize that piece as well. Absolutely. Because let's face it, especially in Black and Latinx communities, our journey starts with our families. Mm-hmm. And the only way we can engage the family is if we're able to say, Mom, Dad, like, I want to talk about HIV, or son, daughter, let's talk about HIV.
Another point that I like to bring up too is oftentimes, and I want to go back to the dating scene, which I really, really enjoy, but I think this is a problem too, where people have this misconception, or people are living in fear. Let me say this. People are living in fear to be able to live in their sexuality out loud. And so there's a social status that heterosexual is the standard. And there are people who I personally know who struggle with living in a bisexual status. If they're bisexual, but a lot of people don't identify as much with bisexual and may hide in fear under a heterosexual status. But in the scene that we saw earlier today for the dating scene, Andres was with the app, it was with a gentleman, but yet was on a date with a woman. And that was something that resonated with me, that I feel like a lot of our men in our communities and all communities across all statuses or sexual orientations, but I do believe that there is, when you look at the heterosexual population, and as a woman, I feel like this is really important too, because there's stigma where individuals may feel that women may only get it through men, or that through gay men, but women can also transmit HIV to men as well, but also that a lot of our men they're suffering in silence, and they may not be able to truly identify and live in their sexual orientation out loud as a bisexual. And so that's something that I just really feel like when you look at the heterosexual population, that it's a little bit of a gray area, in that we have to learn how to love people for who they are, no matter what their sexual orientation is. So
Very well said.
thank you for bringing that up.
Next, we're going back to Camaria. So this is really important, and I want everyone here to pay attention to this one specifically, because HIV is still criminalized here in the state of Florida. And so my question to you, Kamara, is how do we advance the fight for HIV decriminalization in Florida?
Thank you for narrowing it down to Florida, because I do work for a national
I know.
organization, and it's a lot of work. We started off this event with talking about breaking down silos. I think that's a big piece of it, being willing to be uncomfortable, to step into a community that maybe you don't identify with, but you know they're being attacked, or you know that they're at, I don't like saying at risk, that they're vulnerable to certain policies, certain behaviors, certain mindsets from folks, and stand alongside folks in that way. And I think this space is representative of that. There's a coalition of folks living with HIV. There's allies, experts, folks that are lobbyists, people living with HIV, medical providers that meet once a month. I think it's the first Thursday. I think this month's meeting is at 6 p.m. We alternate times every month. I co-facilitate that call. You can come on the call and ask questions. You can hear about what's happening in our legislature regarding our bill. We introduce we're trying to modernize our statute where it's no longer a felony and reduce it to a misdemeanor. We want to get rid of the law. Like, we don't want it at all, but we're very aware of the political climate that we're in. So we're going for what we believe we can achieve and then come back again. But you can also, around awareness days, which we have one for every single month of the year, it seems like, different events happen where I'm happy to come to your area. It doesn't have to be a big production of an event. It can be luncheons where I do education, I do trainings. I'm willing to sit with folks and answer questions. There's other folks I can point you to that can also answer your questions. But most importantly, and this is how I come into this work and continue to hopefully evolve and change, but just be, I think I said this already, but be willing to be uncomfortable in order to learn. Like, there was a lot of uncomfortable conversations. Folks were nervous to come on stage, but then once you did it, I felt the energy shift in here of being willing to have the conversations and put yourself in other people's shoes. So those are some ways. There's also the HIV is Not a Crime Training Academy that we host biannually. We just had it this past June. Andreas came out. We'll have it again in 2025. I have no idea where yet. We haven't started planning. But there's a lot of different national level events and places where you can engage with Congress members as well as your local state elected officials. And I'm happy to connect you to those individuals. Orlando is pretty amazing as far as the entire state of Florida is concerned, in my opinion, on being supportive and engaging in those ways to help decriminalize HIV.
Thank you, Kamaya. Next, Gabriela, how do we keep the tradition of the AIDS Quilt alive in our region?
So we've had the opportunity, Andres, you and I, for the last 4 years to not only bring it to USHTA, but actually recreate some of the quilts that we were able to get from the county, right? So we had volunteers, members, individuals come out, I want to say last year and the year before that. So it was an impactful experience for them. A lot of individuals had just learned what the memorial quilt is and the impact that it has. Invite us, you mentioned a really good point, invite us to spaces. That's usually where we meet folks, right? It's really meeting them where they're at. I was speaking to someone earlier about this laundry initiative that we have. So we go to laundromats, we go to barbershops, so it's just continuing the conversation in different spaces. Yeah.
And I would also like to say for anyone that is sitting in the audience today, if you personally have lost someone to HIV and AIDS, and you would like to create a piece of the AIDS quilt in their memory, please see me or Gabriela at the end of this, because we do have some funding right now that is available to create pieces within the Black and Latinx community. So, and if you are not Black or Latinx, please still see us and we will still help you, because this is a passion project. We want to keep it alive. The first year that I was involved with it at all, Gabriela actually, we had some pieces at the Planning Council that had been sitting there for years, like small pieces, each one of them representing the life of somebody that had passed, and nobody touched them for years. Gabriela gave them to me, and we were actually able to get my mom to sew them together to create the quilt. And from there, it's just been a passion project, because we have to remember the people we've lost. Think about it this way: how would you feel if you passed and not a soul remember you? Especially given the impact that we all have on our daily lives to anyone around us. Next, Andres. This is a very important one, because everyone here that does any kind of work with the community always wants to know, like, how do we use social media? So how do we harness the power of social media to advance education?
Es importantísimo, ¿verdad?, el poder de las redes sociales hoy día. Vemos también que hay mucha distracción y mucha información que podemos...
So the power of social, thank you, Nadia. The power of social media is so important.
Es bien importante. Tenemos tanto como distracciones como desinformación, pero podemos utilizarla a favor.
There's so many distractions and misinformation, but we can use it to our favor.
En cuestión de educar, en el caso de experiencia personal como persona que tiene un diagnóstico positivo al VIH, visibilizarnos.
So to visualize and educate, and in my case, as a person that is positive,
traer, ¿no?, esa visibilidad, y una organización, ¿verdad?, o comunidades pueden igual exponer sus servicios en redes sociales para que las personas conozcan dónde conseguirle o qué les puede ser útil.
and for organizations and communities to expose and share that information for people to know what's helpful.
En sentido de que a veces por el estigma tenemos personas que tienen vergüenza de pisar la clínica, tienen miedo a pisar o que les vean hacerse la prueba de VIH o recoger su tratamiento.
Because of the stigma, there's people that are afraid to go to a clinic, to get treatment, to get a diagnosis.
Y las redes sociales puede ser un canal donde pues, se están comunicando con una persona par que tiene el diagnóstico positivo o con la clínica, ¿verdad?, con esa cuenta de Instagram, de Facebook o email.
And through social media, it's a medium to communicate with a person that is positive or a provider or other people.
Y ahí finalmente la persona puede recibir lo que necesita. En lo personal, estoy aquí y le agradezco, ¿verdad?, por las redes sociales mismos, cómo a través de la distancia, por una red social, podemos conectarnos.
And I'm here, right? And I'm so grateful to social media because I was able to connect to others.
Y ¿verdad?, esa conexión permite a que yo les conozca, así sea la pantalla y no estuviera aquí. Fue una bonita oportunidad poder enlazar a personas a tratamiento que llegan a donde uno y no necesariamente están cerca de uno, pero pueden conectarse con el servicio que necesitan.
And maybe people are not close by, right? And we're not, in front of each other, but we can connect with each other and get that support.
Y definitivamente es traer esa información, como menciona la compañera, donde a veces se recibe fondos.
And to bring that information, as she was mentioning, also to bring funds.
Se reciben fondos o se dan unos mensajes específicamente para una población como la queer o personas LGBT.
And to receive funds and give that message targeted to queer people and LGBTQ communities.
Y no necesariamente se enfocan o se hace para todas las personas y a veces pues, todas las personas hoy día tienen redes sociales y pueden utilizarlas como quizás para conectar con nuestras familias, amistades y parejas y dar ese mensaje de prevención o de recordatorio constante de hacernos la prueba y que nos ayuda a mantenernos en tratamiento.
Okay, so, ¿lo puedes decir otra vez?
Sí,
Mi cerebro ya está a tope.
Que podemos utilizar, ¿verdad?, esas redes sociales para que cada persona tiene una red social.
And we can utilize that social media, and everyone has social media now.
A veces esperamos que otras personas hagan el trabajo o que hayan fondos para hacer esto y podemos utilizar nuestras redes sociales con intención y con propósito to deliver the message to our families, friends, and our partners so they can get tested regularly, so they know they have your support and you're stigma free. They can come to you and get the hug or the love you can give to that person close by that you don't know that has the status, but if you don't speak out, if you don't use your social media to educate others, to spread awareness about HIV, they don't think about you being that person to come or go to disclosure status or to receive support. So we can all have a huge part in this. We all have social media. There's a lot of distractions and there's a lot of tool or information we can deliver to others with a click. So we gotta be wise about what we have right now and use it as an individual or as an organization. Use it. Most of the time we don't know how to do it, what to talk about, but things like this, like in place like this, you get to have different experiences, different messaging, different voices we can share or deliver to the people they need. So it's a part, we can all do the part. Todas las personas aquí podemos hacer de nuestra parte para que ese mensaje llegue.
We can all do that part.
Tienes toda la razón. You're absolutely right. And I actually want to say something to everyone here, right? For those of you that are HIV positive and have been living with HIV for years and you feel comfortable doing so, I encourage you to post your story to your social media if you feel safe, if that is something you feel comfortable doing it. Because that is the biggest way that you show other people that you can provide support. I have told you I don't have nearly as many followers as you do, but I post regularly about the events that I'm doing, the social media stuff, and I've actually, the linkage to care that I've done, I do not work in an HIV organization, I work at the One Pulse Foundation, but I still do linkage to care because of my social media. Because that's how I end up having people say, hey, I'm HIV positive, how can I get services? And if you're not HIV positive and you're sitting in the audience today, there is something huge that you can do that will actually help us create change. And that is that the next time that you go and you get an HIV test, post it online. I mean it. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm a big old influencer. No. Post it online. Right. Post that you went and got an HIV test. Because I guarantee you that, especially if you're a heterosexual woman, like that is huge, because then you're opening up the conversation around HIV and you're inviting all of your friends and family in to see. And you might get a little bit of stigma around it. You might have people that don't understand why you're doing it, but believe me, you're gonna make a lot more change than Andres, myself, or Camaria can.
That's right, and you said it. We need representation. We need our voices to be heard, and for us to be seen. Heterosexual women, heterosexual men, bisexual men, everyone. It's like, it's not my story. I'm not the only one living with HIV. But my knowledge in graphic design and social media, I use it as favor. But we all have a story to share. We all have a voice. We all have the power to change how things and narrative on other places or from history, that HIV means death or that we're like sick or we're not clean. We can all change that. We can raising our voices or using our platforms.
Thank you. And then last but not least, Ms. Dunn, Dr. Dunn, I'm sorry. Why is the advancement of PrEP in the Black community a necessary step that reduces HIV stigma while getting people into care?
It's a loaded question. It's a loaded question. And the first part, I'll break it up into two parts because it was What was the first part again about the advancement in PrEP?
Yeah. So why is advancement in PrEP something important that basically decreases stigma while getting people into care?
Yes. Yes. So PrEP is an acronym for pre-exposure prophylaxis. So we all know pre as a suffix is before. So there's a medication that we can take for people who are HIV negative to help them stay negative. And what's really interesting about PrEP is that we've been using something like PrEP in medicine for a long time, vaccines. We don't call it PrEP. But technically a vaccine, like the COVID vaccine, we took it, tried to take it before we were exposed to COVID to give our body like a head start, right? So that's exactly what PrEP, this is a class of drugs that are classified as pre-exposure prophylaxis. And so there's 3 medications currently on the market now, and there's several others that are currently being studied. So the question is, you know, why is it important for the advancement of PrEP to be used in the Black community, correct? Is that right? So it's really important because, and I think it's important for specifically for when you ask for communities of color, Black communities and our Hispanic communities, but specifically our Black communities are most affected by HIV, male and female. And so what's really important is that with the advances of medicine, like how we talked about U equals U, where being undetectable equals untransmittable, but that is through the power of the medicine. And so that's where I really get excited. I'm a pharmacist by trade. And one of the reasons why I became a pharmacist was because of the powers of medications in order to prevent HIV transmission. Years ago, I had a project on maternal or vertical transmission or transmission through pregnancy. And this is what sparked my interest in why I wanted to go to pharmacy school anyway, because the medications were so powerful that even though a mother who was living with HIV while taking medications in care, and we've known this for a long time. It wasn't called undetectable then, but they knew that in female populations years ago that if they were in treatment, that they could prevent transmission to their unborn child through pregnancy. And so to understand and learn when those studies first started coming out and the power of medications, so PrEP is just used as another tool or another entity where we're using it as prevention. So a lot of people in the heterosexual population are very familiar, I think, with birth control, for example. I don't want to get pregnant, I'm taking my birth control. And we even have, you know, situations where now we're putting our teenagers on birth control to prevent, and now with Roe versus Wade, we'll probably see the numbers of birth control skyrocket, even higher than what it already has been, but the importance of prevention before. And so we actually have a campaign where we're trying to help women understand that PrEP is for them as well, and that's our She is PrEPalicious campaign, where PrEP can be, you know, sexy and you know, we're in a feminine way where women can understand that it's not just for our gay and same gender loving male populations, right? Because that's typically what, unfortunately, people just think that it's just for our gay population. And a lot of times too, we see that even in the marketing and social media. But it's important for people who are heterosexuals to know PrEP is an option for you as well. So it doesn't matter if you're male or female. And I think in the Black community, it's really important for us to understand, number one, the rates and what's going on in our geographical location, and the fact that most heterosexual, not heterosexuals, but most Black people date within our same race. And so if it's within our population, the same with our Hispanic populations. If the rates are so high within our populations, it's just going to continue to circulate within our populations. And so we have to change the perspective and start focusing more on prevention. And PrEP is a tool in addition to condom use and some other things, but we'll focus on PrEP. But for the most part, you know, I think that it's very important for us to understand that PrEP is an option. And it's also available in our youth, which is often not talked about either. And so I just really want to, make that known that PrEP, you see it's for typically same gender loving men, but it's for everybody. So it's very, very important. Thank you for that question. And the second part, what was the second part?
No, that was it, because it was like, how is it, it was just broken down into how does it reduce stigma while getting people into care.
Absolutely. So stigma, I know this is one of the things that we're focused on. It was one point that I wanted to mention too, because during the scene with the healthcare provider, I was burning inside. But I didn't want to stand up, so I didn't want her to know that I was like itching to like say something, and I knew I would have an opportunity to talk about it. But for that scene, my thought, even in healthcare professionals, and I feel like with stigma and what we see in healthcare, and I will admit I have witnessed stigma in healthcare, and it burns me every time. So I'd probably be like the nurse over here on the side, like, hello. I've done that in the hospital settings, and it's very frustrating to see something like that being done, and what can we do when we're trying to overstep our physicians. However, I say that to say that even when people come to healthcare professionals and they want PrEP, that there is even stigma as well. So instead of that physician being so focused on the sexual partners, there could have been more emphasis on him, of course, as the patient, and not being so concerned about everybody else. But even the discussion of PrEP for your partner, even if you were sexually active, do you know about PrEP? Have you talked to PrEP with your partners? That could have been a really good education point that I was thinking during that particular scene, in addition to a lot of other things that went wrong in that scene. But I just really want to say, even with stigma, a lot of people are looked down upon when it comes to PrEP. And for a long time, even, I know Mike Alonzo's not here, but from Gilead's perspective, they really took a lot of heat when PrEP first was on the market, because it was looked at a medication that was going to increase sexual activity, and it, in turn, there was theorized that it increased STIs, other STIs other than HIV, because it was increasing condomless sex. And so they got hit pretty hard, and they're still getting hit really hard with lawsuits and things of that sort. But I think it's really important for people to understand, with the stigma, even trying to obtain access, that's a barrier to why people can't get PrEP. And so while we have people who are wanting it, we really have to work hard with making sure that you can find a provider who's sensitive to those needs. And if they're not assessing you or asking you if you're interested in PrEP, that's a red flag that you probably need to start looking for a different provider. Even if you bring it up to them and you get stigmatized back, those are red flags. And so we're trying to create safe spaces for people, and we currently have a research study right now for women in PrEP, where we're partnering with Orlando Immunology Center, and we're looking to get women on PrEP. So if anyone is interested to be a part of that, and you want to start PrEP, we're comparing the two available formulations that are available for women, and it's an injectable form as well as the oral pill, which is very similar to birth control. But if anyone is interested in that, please. So we're trying to create a safe space for PrEP and help women get on PrEP through our PrEPalicious program. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ben. All right, so unfortunately, we are running low on time, so this is actually going to be the end of our panel discussion. Normally, we would open up to a community, but we often leave the theater late and have been yelled at before. I'm kidding, they don't yell at us. They're super nice. Thank you, Black Box. So before we leave, we want to bring the theater troupe back up here real quick. Just so we can give a nice big round of applause. And so that if you guys could stand like one in the middle of every person, and we're gonna get a good group picture. But we're all gonna do this today. So I'm about to teach you the coolest new gang sign in Orlando. I'm kidding, that is not, no. But I'm about to teach you something that we here at the One Pulse Foundation will be, oh right, I already have a mic, I don't know why I'm using this one. But I'm going to show you something that we will be using from now on here at the One Pulse Foundation. Dr. Earl came up with it during one of his guru walks, where he just goes out to Lake Eola and then comes back and it's like, I have an idea. Yeah. And so, And so this one is actually really good, but I want everyone on stage to do it first so that we can take the picture with it. All right? And what you're going to tell people is we want you to go with more love, more peace. More love, more peace.
Everybody's got that, right? More
Love, more peace. Okay, so we'll start with the love because that's an easy one. So more love. Get closer. And then more peace. Okay. And then I also want you to take that with you today, right? Because that is really what we want you to get out of this. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you for being a part of this amazing theater presentation. We also have one big ask to do. We're actually going to take a photo as a group. So if all of us could step off.
I can get down. I just couldn't get up.
And then go towards that side. And the entire crowd is going to be together. Yes.
Okay.
Sit down. No, thank you for doing this. What? Oh, right. Thank you. I got you. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to sit right here. All right, everyone, try it out for our photo. More love. All right. And then more peace. Thank you. All right, last few announcements that we do have to make. One of our partner organizations, the Central Florida HIV Planning Council, has a great event that is happening tomorrow. It starts at noon and it ends. It starts at 2. It starts at 2 and it ends at 5. It starts at 2 and it ends at 5. And it is at the Hispanic Office for Local Assistance. It is called Summertime Jubilee. It is free. It's going to have carnival games, a lot of delicious food. So, yes. DJ, we're going to have caricatures. We're going to have a lot of fun, and it's going to be completely free. And it is tomorrow at 2. It is at the Hispanic Office for Local Assistance.
Hispanic Office for Local Assistance.
Yeah, and we actually have flyers in the main lobby, so you can take one with you tomorrow, but please make sure you go and support the Central Florida HIV Planning Council. I also have to ask you all that I'm grateful that you're here today. When you walk out, there's going to be a screen to your right, and it's going to have a QR code. Please make sure you fill that out. That is the survey that tells us how well we did today, if you learned something, if you're taking something away. And we need those because that's how we get funding. So please make sure you fill out that survey. I'm going to go set that up, and I'll let you say goodbye.
Hey, listen, we love y'all, okay? So thank you all for coming out, and I hope we learned something, right? HIV Stigma, and that's what we do. So thank you from the bottom of our heart.
And if you have translation equipment, make sure you turn it in to Lantana Collective.